You know, we all kind of feel like we know The Little Prince. It's that book from when we were kids, right? This sweet little story about a boy with blonde hair on a tiny planet. He's got his rose, a couple of volcanoes. We file it away in our heads as a fairy tale.
But what if we've got it all wrong? What if this story is actually a brutal guide for adults? What if it's not about finding some magical, perfect person out in the stars, but about the messy, complicated, and sometimes really painful reality of loving someone right here on Earth? That's what we're going to dig into.
Okay, so let's start with the relationship that's at the very heart of the book, the prince and his rose. Now, on his little planet, she's it. She's his only companion. She is, quite literally, his entire universe. But here's the thing, this is not some perfect fairy tale love. The rose is, well, she's a lot. She's vain, she's fragile, she's incredibly demanding. She needs the prince for absolutely everything. Does that sound at all familiar? It's that frustrating, maddening, beautiful, and tangled reality of a real relationship.
And this right here is the core illusion, the big lie. She tells him, and he completely buys it, that she is the only one of her kind in the entire universe, that her specialness is an objective fact. And for the prince, that idea becomes the entire foundation for how he understands love.
So eventually, the prince gets fed up with her difficult personality, and he just leaves. He takes off, travels the stars, meets a bunch of really strange adults, and then he lands on Earth. And this is the moment where his entire reality is about to come crashing down. Because on Earth, he wanders into a garden, and in this garden, he finds not one, not two, but 5,000 roses. And they all look exactly like his rose, the one he was so sure was unique. In that single instant, the whole illusion just shatters.
And this just completely breaks him. I mean, think about it. What happens when that thought creeps in? That quiet, terrifying little voice that whispers, the person you've built your entire world around, they're not actually unique. That there are thousands, maybe millions of people out there just like them. It's a really uncomfortable place to be, and it's the central crisis of the book.
But right, when he's at his absolute lowest, completely disillusioned, he meets a fox. And this fox is about to give him a totally new way to think about what makes someone special. He's going to share the secret of taming. Now, taming is such a cool idea because it's not a passive thing. It's not about going out and finding a special person. No, it's an active process. It's the work you do, the time you spend to create a special bond with someone. It's literally how we build friendships, how we fall in love. The fox lays it out perfectly. He says, look, right now, you are still nothing more than a little boy who is just like 100,000 other little boys. But if you tame me, then we shall need each other. To me, you will be unique in all the world. To you, I shall be unique in all the world. Uniqueness isn't found, it's created between two people. And that's the whole secret. Specialness isn't something you discover, it's something you build, day by day. The fox tells the prince his rose is so important precisely because of all the time he has wasted on her. It's that shared history, that investment, knowing all her good parts and all her flaws. That's what makes her essential, not to the world, but to him. And if you think that's profound, well, the story gets even deeper. Because this isn't just some clever philosophical idea. For the author, Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, this was deeply, painfully real. This book is basically his autobiography. Saint-Exupéry was a real-life adventurer. I mean, this guy was a French aristocrat who became one of the very first airmail pilots, flying these incredibly dangerous routes over mountains and deserts. His life was just constant movement, risk, and adventure. So, that vain, demanding, fragile rose from the book? Yeah, that was his wife, Consuelo. She was this fiery, brilliant artist, and he called her his muse, but their marriage was legendarily turbulent. A friend put it perfectly. Saint-Exupéry could not live with or live without her. His life as a pilot meant he was always leaving, always abandoning her for his work and his adventures, pretty much exactly like the prince leaves his rose. And his constant affairs put this immense strain on their marriage. Suddenly, the book stops feeling like a fairy tale and starts feeling a lot like a confession. So now when you hear this famous quote again, it just hits differently, doesn't it? This is not some sweet, simple platitude. This is the sound of a man wrestling with his own guilt, his own neglect. It's him admitting, maybe to himself, the heavy responsibility he has for the person he chose, for the bond he so often broke. And, his story doesn't have a simple ending. In 1944, he took off on a reconnaissance mission during World War II and just vanished. For decades, nobody knew what happened, until the wreckage of his plane was finally found at the bottom of the Mediterranean Sea. His life, just like his book, was a mix of incredible beauty and profound tragedy. So, what are we supposed to do with all of this? Let's bring it back to what this story is really trying to tell us. First off, this book completely demolishes the myth of the one. The idea that love is some cosmic scavenger hunt for a person who is objectively perfect for you. The book says that's the logic of a child. Instead, it gives us something so much more mature, and honestly, so much more powerful. It says love is about choosing someone, and then doing the deliberate, difficult, but beautiful work of making that person special to you through your commitment and your time. And this is why the book's most famous line is so brilliant. What is essential is invisible to the eye. Of course it is. The things that truly bond you to someone, the shared jokes, the arguments you survived, the trust you built, the time you wasted, you can't see any of that. You can only feel it. Which really leaves us with just one last question. This book isn't just a story, it's a mirror. It forces us to look at our own lives, our own relationships, and it asks us to stop looking for who is essential and to start asking ourselves, through our time, our choices, and our work, what have we made essential?